The assignment nobody wanted Kellner sat stiff in his chair, his forefingers tapping nervously against the metal table. The air in the council chamber was heavy, as if the entire galaxy was holding its breath. His name had just been called. He was next. The council officer, a tall insectoid with glassy black eyes, looked down at a glowing tablet. Its mandibles clicked as it read the orders. Kellner of the Vayari Union, it announced, its voice echoing through the chamber. Congratulations. You have been selected for a prestigious assignment. From this day forward, you will be working with humans. The room went silent. Every alien in the chamber froze. Some turned their heads sharply. Others shifted in their seats, uneasy. A low hiss of whispers spread across the hall like a storm. Kellner's chest tightened. His long ears flicked back in alarm. Did I hear that right? Humans? He wanted to speak, to protest, but his mouth was dry. The insectoid officer continued, pretending not to notice the reaction. Your duty begins immediately. You will report to the Joint Operations Base within 1 cycle. That is all. The council's seal appeared in the air, glowing blue. The order was final. Kellner staggered to his feet. His knees felt weak. He was not sure if it was fear, anger, or both. The whispers grew louder now. Unlucky, one alien muttered. Assigned to humans? That's worse than a death sentence. Better him than me. Kellner felt every eye in the room burning into him. He lowered his head and walked out, trying not to show his shaking hands. The corridor outside was cold, lined with steel walls and humming lights. Kellner leaned against the wall and tried to breathe. Humans. Why them? He had heard the stories, of course. Everyone had. The council didn't like to admit it, but rumors always spread. Humans were dangerous. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were different. Some said they laughed in battle. Some said they didn't feel fear at all. Others claimed they were cursed born, on a death world where everything tried to kill them, so they learned to survive against impossible odds. And now he had to work with them. Kellner made his way to the barracks, where a few fellow officers waited. The moment he entered, the room grew tense. A reptilian officer, scales glinting under the lights, tilted his head. So it's true. You're going to the humans. Kellner's throat tightened. Yes. The council has decided. A smaller insectoid officer gave a sharp laugh. Decided? No. They punished you. Nobody chooses to be sent to humans. Another voice chimed in, lower, almost a whisper. I heard humans once set fire to their own base, just to trap the enemy. Inside, and they survived it themselves. That's impossible, Kellner said quickly, though his own voice shook. Impossible? The reptilian leaned forward, eyes glinting. Nothing is impossible with humans. That's what makes them terrifying. The room grew quiet again. Kellner didn't answer. He just sat down on his bunk, staring at the floor. The others left him alone after that. Nobody wanted to be near him. Being assigned to humans was like carrying a curse. That night, Kellner couldn't sleep. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the words of the council officer echoing in his head. Congratulations. You will be working with humans. Congratulations. It felt like mockery. He thought of home, his quiet planet with its calm oceans and peaceful cities. His people avoided risks. They followed the rules. They believed in safety and order. Humans were the opposite of everything he knew. Reckless, loud, dangerous. What if the stories were true? What if working with humans meant his life would be short and brutal? Yet another thought flickered in his mind. What if the stories left something out? The next morning, Kellner reported to the transport dock. A sleek shuttle waited, glowing, under the station lights. At its side stood a few alien staff members, all staring at him with pity. Nobody wanted his place. Destination: Joint Operations Base Sector Delta. The pilot droned as Kellner boarded. The shuttle doors closed with a hiss. Engines roared. The stars stretched into long silver lines as the ship jumped into faster than light. Travel. Kellner gripped the seat. His heart pounded. Soon he would meet them. Soon the rumors would become reality. Would they be monsters or saviors? He didn't know. But one thing was certain. His life was about to change forever. Asterisk. First contact with the human team. The shuttle touched down with a heavy thud. Metal groaned as the landing struts met the ground. Kellner's stomach twisted. He had been on dozens of stations before, but this one felt different. The door hissed open, and hot air rushed inside, carrying a sharp smell oil, smoke, and something else he couldn't place. It smelled like danger. A voice echoed through the bay. Loud, confident, too confident. Welcome to Delta Base. Hope you brought nerves of steel. Kellner flinched. The voice belonged to a tall figure stepping forward, dressed in dark armor patched with scratches and burns. A human. His skin was pale compared to Kellner's gray-blue tone, his hair cut short, eyes sharp and direct. He smiled not the polite smile Kellner knew from his people, but wide and bold, showing teeth like a predator. Captain Alex Morrison. He extended a hand. You must be Kellner. Congratulations, you're one of us now. Kellner hesitated. The human's hand looked strong enough to crush his bones. Still, refusing would be worse. Slowly, carefully, Kellner reached out. The handshake was firm. Too firm. Pain shot through his fingers. The human's grin widened. Good grip, Alex said. You'll need it. Kellner followed as the captain led him through the base. The place looked chaotic far, too chaotic. Humans rushed in every direction. Some carried weapons casually slung over their shoulders. Others laughed loudly while fixing machines. Sparks flew from one corner where a team was welding armor plates back together. This, Kellner muttered, unable to stop himself. This is disorder. Alex turned his head and laughed. Disorder? No, this is efficiency, human style. They passed a group of soldiers sitting at a table, eating rations. When they saw Kellner, they waved, shouting greetings. One even raised a metal cup and said, Don't worry, alien friend. Stick with us, and you'll never die alone. The others burst into laughter. Elna or froze. Never die alone? His stomach tightened again. Were they joking, or were they serious? Later, Alex brought him to the training field. Before you see real action, you need to learn how humans fight, the captain said. Kellner watched nervously as a group of humans ran combat drills. They moved strangely, not in perfect formation like his people, but breaking lines, shifting, adapting. It looked messy, wrong, but somehow they always covered each other, always moving like parts of one living machine. Then came the live fire exercise. An alarm blared. Targets popped up. Explosions rattled the ground. The humans didn't hesitate. They charged forward, laughing as bullets and energy bolts flew. One soldier tripped, rolled, and instead of retreating, used his fall to shoot 3 targets in a row. His teammates cheered like it was a game. Kellner's ears pressed flat against his skull. This is madness. Alex turned to him. Your turn. Kellner's hands shook as he picked up the weapon they gave him. It was heavier than he expected. He raised it at the first target and fired. The shot went wide. The humans shouted encouragement, not insults. Keep firing. Don't freeze. One yelled, Pretend it's your worst nightmare and shoot it. Another added. Kellner tried again. He hit a target this time, though only barely. The humans clapped and whistled. A strange warmth spread in his chest. His people would have criticized him for such poor aim. But the humans, they celebrated even his smallest success. After the drill, Kellner sat on a bench, trembling from the noise and chaos. A human soldier dropped beside him, grinning. "Not bad, alien. You didn't run. That's more than most can say on their first day." Kellner swallowed. You laugh while fighting. Do you not fear death?" The soldier shrugged. "Of course we do. But fear won't stop death. Laughter might help us live with it." Kellner stared, not sure what to say. That evening, Alex gathered the squad, including Kellner, around a large table covered with maps and data screens. "Our first mission together starts tomorrow," the captain said. "Rescue op. Dangerous. Perfect for us." The humans grinned. Some cracked their knuckles. One whispered, "Finally." Kellner felt cold. His first day with humans, and already a mission. Alex looked directly at him. "Kellner, you're one of us now. Don't worry. Stick close, and you'll see why the galaxy fears us." The humans laughed again, the sound echoing in the room. Kellner's heart raced. He wasn't sure if he was trapped in a nightmare, or standing at the edge of something greater than he could imagine. Asterisk. The mission begins the next morning. Alarms echoed across Delta Base. Red lights flashed through the corridors. Soldiers rushed to their stations, boots pounding against the metal floors. Kellner followed the humans, his heart racing. He had barely slept. His mind replayed the human laughter, the madness of their training, the way they celebrated danger. Now it was no longer drills. This was real. Captain Alex Morrison stood at the front of the briefing room, his voice calm and strong, cutting through the noise. "Listen up. We've got a rescue op. A science team from the Council was captured by the Kreth Empire. They're being held inside a fortress on Eric 7. Other squads tried to get them out and failed." The room went silent. Everyone knew what failed meant. Dead. Alex slammed a fist on the table. "That's why they sent us. Failure is not an option. Questions?" One soldier raised his hand, grinning. "Yeah. Do we get hazard? Pay for this?" The squad burst out laughing. Kellner's stomach twisted. They laughed at the mention of death. Again, on the dropship, Kellner sat strapped in, gripping the seat with shaking hands. The human soldiers around him seemed relaxed. One cleaned his weapon while humming a tune. Another leaned back with his eyes closed, as if taking a nap before a storm. Alex noticed Kellner's pale expression. He leaned closer. "First time?" Kellner nodded. "Don't worry," Alex said. "Just remember things will go wrong. Always. But that's where humans shine. We don't follow the plan. We make a new one." Kellner frowned. That is not strategy. That is chaos." Alex smirked. "Exactly." The dropship rattled as it entered the planet's atmosphere. Flames licked across the windows. Kellner's claws dug into the armrest. The humans? They cheered as if it were a sport. Best part of the ride. One shouted. The ship landed hard. Dust and smoke rising. The fortress loomed in the distance, towers of black stone and steel, glowing with enemy energy shields. Dozens of guards patrolled the walls. Searchlights swept the dark ground. Kellner's breath caught. This is suicide. But the humans didn't slow. Alex raised his weapon and signaled. "Move!" They sprinted into the shadows, moving from cover to cover. Kellner struggled to keep up, his chest burning. The humans moved with unnatural speed, like predators hunting prey. They reached the first gate. 2 Kreth guards stood watch. Before Kellner could blink. One human tackled the nearest guard silently, a blade pressed to its throat. Another snapped the second's neck with shocking strength. Both bodies were dragged into the dark. Kellner froze. So fast, so brutal. Alex gave him a sharp look. "Don't freeze. Keep moving." Inside the fortress walls, alarms suddenly blared. The Kreth had noticed them. Change of plan. Alex shouted, grinning. Hit them hard, the humans charged. Explosions shook the air as grenades burst. Gunfire rattled the walls. Humans darted left and right, shouting, laughing, yelling battle cries. Kellner ducked behind a pillar, heart racing, firing blindly at the enemy. His shots missed, but the humans didn't mock him. They covered him instead, shouting encouragement. "Keep it up, alien," one yelled. "You'll get your first kill soon." Another shouted, as if it were a game. Kellner didn't know whether to feel proud or horrified. Finally, they reached the inner chamber where the scientists were held. The prisoners' 3 terrified researchers looked up as the squad burst in. "We're here to get you home," Alex said simply, blasting open their cell. Relief washed over the scientists' faces. But the moment they stepped out, heavy footsteps thundered from the hallways. The enemy reinforcements had arrived. A towering Kreth officer stepped into view, clad in thick armor, carrying a massive energy cannon. Behind him came waves of soldiers. The air filled with the sound of boots, weapons charging, and alien war cries. Kellner's blood ran cold. The scientists cowered. Even the humans paused for half a second. Alex turned his head, his eyes burning with a strange fire. Then he smiled. Perfect. Things were getting boring. Kellner's jaw dropped. Boring. They are surrounded by death. But the humans stood taller, ready for the fight. Alex raised his weapon and shouted, "We hold the line here. Protect the scientists at all costs." The squad roared back, fearless, ready. Kellner's claws trembled on his weapon. He wanted to run. Every part of him screamed to run. Yet his eyes caught the humans, their confidence, their refusal to back down, the way they faced death as if it were only another challenge. For the first time, something inside Kellner shifted. He didn't feel only fear. He felt a spark of courage. And in that moment, with the enemy charging, he realized this was only the beginning. Chaos in the enemy stronghold. The air exploded with noise. The Kreth soldiers charged, their boots thundering against the stone floor. Red bolts of energy lit up the chamber, slicing the air like fire. Kellner dropped to the ground, claws over his head. His ears rang. His body screamed for him to stay down, but the humans didn't hide. Captain Alex Morrison was already moving, shouting orders with a grin. "Left flank, push forward, cover the scientists." His soldiers answered with fearless roars. Explosions rattled the chamber as grenades tore through enemy lines. The humans fought like storms, loud, wild, unstoppable. Kellner peeked up. A human soldier leapt onto a broken pillar, firing down with deadly precision. Another rushed straight at the Kreth line, sliding across the floor, blasting 3 soldiers before springing back behind cover. They weren't perfect, disciplined lines of fighters. They were chaos. But it was chaos that worked. "Move, alien!" A human shouted, pulling Kellner to his feet. He staggered, his weapon trembling in his hands. A Kreth soldier appeared in front of him, raising a blade. Kellner froze. Then dash, crack. The soldier dropped, a hole burning through its armor. Alex stood behind Kellner, his rifle smoking. "Don't freeze again," the captain said calmly. "Next time, you fire first." Kellner's chest burned with shame, but also determination. The battle raged on. The Kreth officer raised his massive cannon and fired. A blast of energy tore through the chamber, shaking the walls. Debris rained. From above, scatter. Alex yelled. The humans moved instantly, dragging the scientists to cover. Kellner dove behind a stone block, his heart pounding. The officer reloaded his cannon slowly, each movement heavy and deliberate. The humans shouted, joked, even laughed as they fought. "Hey, big guy!" one soldier shouted at the Kreth officer. That cannon compensating for something? The squad laughed, even as death closed in. Kellner couldn't believe it. Were they mad? Or were they fearless? Suddenly, one human private Jenkins was hit. The blast threw him across the floor. He didn't scream. He just cursed and spat blood. Still alive. He shouted, "Somebody buy me a drink when this is done." His squad cheered, even while dragging him behind cover. Kellner's eyes widened. His people would have abandoned the wounded to survive. But the humans, they carried their comrade as if leaving him behind was unthinkable. Something cracked inside Kellner's chest. A new understanding. The Kreth officer fired again, the blast narrowly missing Alex. Dust filled the chamber. "We need that cannon." "Down!" Alex barked. His squad answered with fire and grenades, but the officer's armor was too strong. Alex looked at Kellner. "Alien, you see that support beam?" Kellner followed his gaze. Above the officer, a cracked pillar leaned, half broken by the earlier blasts. "Yes," Kellner whispered. "Then shoot it." Alex roared. Kellner hesitated. His aim was poor. His hands shook. But Alex's voice cut through his fear. "You miss, we all die. You hit, we live. Decide now." The Kreth officer raised his cannon again. Kellner's claws dug into the weapon. His breath shook. His mind screamed run, but he remembered the humans. Their laughter in the face of death. Their courage. Their refusal to abandon anyone. For the first time, Kellner wanted to be like them. He aimed. He fired. The beam cracked. Then snapped. The pillar collapsed, crashing down on the Kreth officer. The giant roared once before the weight crushed him, and his cannon. The chamber shook with silence. Then the humans erupted in cheers. "Nice shot, alien! First kill! Drinks on him!" Kellner's legs gave out. He collapsed, chest heaving, weapon shaking in his hands. But inside, for the first time, he felt proud. Alex crouched beside him, clapping a heavy hand on his shoulder. "Not bad for your first mission. You're learning fast." Kellner looked up, trembling. I thought I would fail." Alex grinned. "Failure only happens when you stop trying. Remember that." The squad gathered the rescued scientists and began their retreat. Outside, the fortress burned, smoke rising into the night sky. Kellner followed, his body aching, his mind spinning. He had seen humans fight. He had seen their madness, their courage, their loyalty, and he realized something terrifying. The galaxy feared humans because they were unpredictable. But what truly made them dangerous was their refusal to ever give up. And now, Kellner was part of them. Asterisk. The long road back the fortress burned behind them. Flames licked the night sky as smoke rose like a signal fire. The humans moved quickly, carrying the rescued scientists. Their boots splashed through the mud, their breath heavy in the cold air. Ke, LNAR, stumbled after them, his body weak, his mind racing. Every sound made his ears twitch, the distant roars of Kreth soldiers, the thunder of approaching machines. "Don't slow down," Alex barked, his rifle scanning the horizon. "They'll be coming." And they did. From the fortress walls, searchlights swept across the dark plains. Engines roared. Shadows of Kreth war machines rolled out of the gates. The chase had begun. The humans moved with precision. One soldier carried the wounded Jenkins on his back, never slowing. Another kept the scientists shielded in the middle of the group. Kellner couldn't believe it. His people would have abandoned the weak to move faster. But these humans, no one was left behind. "Keep your head down." A soldier shouted, dragging Kellner behind a rock as a blast scorched the ground where he had stood. The Kreth opened. Fire. The night filled with streaks of red energy bolts. Explosions tore the ground apart, sending dirt flying. "Ambush point ahead," Alex yelled. "We hold them here." The squad slid behind a line of rocks, forming a defensive circle. The scientists cowered in the center, trembling. Kellner clutched his weapon, his claws shaking. His heart screamed, "We can't win. There are too many." But the humans laughed. "Good," one muttered. "Finally some fun. Let's make them regret chasing us." Another grinned. Alex turned to Kellner. "You wanted to see how humans fight? Watch closely." The enemy forces came rushing through the smoke rows of armored Kreth soldiers, war machines stomping across the dirt. The humans didn't retreat. They opened fire. The ground shook with chaos. Explosions, gunfire, shouts, and laughter mixed into a storm of noise. One human threw himself into the open, firing a rocket that struck Kreth machine. The explosion lit up the night, throwing fire into the sky. He rolled back into cover, grinning. "Scratch one, metal beast." He shouted. Another soldier laughed as he sprayed fire into enemy ranks. Next, Kellner couldn't understand it. They were surrounded, outnumbered, fighting against impossible odds, and yet they smiled. They treated it like a game, and somehow they were winning, but the Kreth kept coming. A blast knocked a soldier down. His weapon slid across the ground. Without thinking, Kellner darted forward. He grabbed the weapon and fired wildly at the enemy. By chance or luck, one of his shots hit a Kreth soldier straight in the chest. The alien dropped. Elnar froze, staring at what he had done. His claws shook. He had killed for the first time. Before he could panic, a human clapped him on the back. "Nice shot, rookie." The soldier grinned. "Now keep shooting." Kellner blinked, then lifted the weapon again. For the first time, he wasn't frozen by fear. For the first time, he wanted to fight. Minutes felt like hours. Bodies littered the battlefield. Smoke and fire painting the night. At last, Alex shouted, "We're moving! Everyone up!" The humans pulled the wounded, gathered the scientists, and fell back. Kellner stumbled after them, his chest burning with exhaustion. Behind them, the Kreth regrouped, but they were slower now. The humans had bought time with blood and fire. Finally, the squad reached a canyon, narrow and dark. Their dropship waited. At the far end, engines glowing faintly. But the Kreth weren't done. A massive war machine stomped into view at the canyon mouth, blocking their escape. Its eyes glowed red. Its cannon hummed with deadly power. The humans froze. Even Alex narrowed his eyes. "This might be a problem," he muttered. Kellner's throat went dry. "No, not after all this. We can't fail now." The machine raised its weapon. The ground shook with its steps. Alex turned to his squad. "Ideas?" "Shoot it till it falls," one offered. "Throw Jenkins at it." Another joked. Even the wounded soldier laughed. But Kellner didn't laugh. He looked at the canyon walls, high, sharp, unstable. His alien eyes spotted cracks in the rock above the machine. An idea sparked. "Captain," he shouted, "the rocks." "Shoot the canyon wall." Alex's eyes followed. His gaze. A grin spread across his face. "You're starting to think like us, alien." The squad turned their weapons upward, firing at the cracked stone. Energy blasts tore into the canyon wall. The war machine paused, confused, then crash. Tons of rock collapsed from above, slamming down onto the Kreth machine. The ground shook as it was buried under rubble. Dust filled the air. Silence followed. Then the humans cheered, voices echoing in the canyon. "Beautiful! Alien genius! Drinks on him again!" Kellner dropped to his knees, panting, shaking. He had never felt so alive. For the first time, he realized something. He wasn't just surviving with humans. He was starting to become one of them. The price of survival. The dropship lifted into the night sky, leaving the canyon behind. Smoke and fire faded into the distance, but the silence inside the ship was heavy. The humans sat in their seats, armor scorched, faces pale with exhaustion. The rescued scientists huddled together, whispering thanks. Kellner sat among them, weapon resting on his knees. His claws still trembled from the battle. His chest burned with every breath, but it wasn't his wounds that hurt the most. It was what he had seen. The humans joked less now. Their laughter was quiet, tired. Some of them stared at the floor, thinking of the friends they had lost. Private Jenkins, still wounded, gave a weak grin. "Well, we lived. That's a win, right?" The squad chuckled softly. But the sound was hollow. Hours later, the dropship landed at the forward base. The soldiers carried their wounded inside. Medics rushed to work. Kellner stood frozen, unsure where to go. He felt like an intruder in this strange brotherhood of blood and fire. Then Alex clapped a hand on his shoulder. "Come on, alien. You fought with us. You earned a place at the table." Inside the base, the humans gathered around a metal table. The air smelled of smoke, sweat, and alcohol. They raised their mugs in silence. "Not celebration, remembrance. To Carter," one said quietly. "To Diaz," another added. "And to every one of us still breathing," Alex finished. They drank. Kellner lifted a mug of water awkwardly. He didn't know the names. He hadn't known the fallen. But somehow, his chest ached as if he had. Later, when most had gone to rest, Kellner sat alone outside the base. The stars stretched above him, endless and cold. He thought of his people. If he returned home now, what would they see? A coward? A killer? A traitor? He had taken life. He had fought beside humans. He had shouted in battle, laughed in danger. And he knew he could never go back to who he was. "You're thinking too much." Alex's voice broke the silence. A captain stepped out, sitting beside him. His armor was off, his face lined with exhaustion, but still carrying that strange, steady confidence. "I don't belong here," Kellner whispered. Alex raised an eyebrow. "You picked up a rifle. You saved us twice. You bled with us. That's belonging in my book." Kellner shook his head. "My people will never understand. They will say I am broken, that I am corrupted." Alex smirked. "Then maybe they need a little corruption. The galaxy doesn't need perfect soldiers, Kellner. It needs people who refuse to give up." For the first time, Kellner dared to ask the question burning in his chest. Why? Why do humans fight like that? Laugh when you should cry? Run toward danger when survival says run away? Alex looked at the stars for a long moment before answering. "Because we've learned the truth," he said quietly. "Everything dies. But how you live, how you fight, how you protect others, that's what matters. We fight for each other, always." Kellner's chest tightened. He thought of the way they carried Jenkins, the way they honored their dead, the way they never left anyone behind. He finally understood. But before he could speak, alarms blared inside the base. Red lights flashed. A voice shouted through the intercom. "Enemy reinforcements inbound. Kreth fleet approaching orbit." The humans jumped into action instantly, grabbing weapons, rushing to their stations. The tiredness vanished from their eyes, replaced by fire. Alex stood, turning to Kellner. "Looks like we're not done yet." Kellner froze. His body was still sore, his claws still shaking. But deep inside, a spark flickered. He stood. "No," he said firmly. "We fight." The base roared with activity. Dropships prepped. Artillery cannons charged. The humans were preparing for another storm. Kellner gripped his weapon tight. Fear still clawed at him. But for the first time, he didn't run from it. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was choosing. And in that choice, he felt something terrifying, something powerful. He felt human. Asterisk. The final stand, the sky above the base, turned red with fire. Dozens of Kreth warships broke through the clouds, their cannons glowing. Thunder rolled as the ground shook with the force of their arrival. The humans didn't panic. They ran to their stations, calm but fierce, like wolves ready for the hunt. Kelna gripped his weapon tighter. His claws dug into the metal, but this time he didn't feel weakness. He felt a strange fire inside him. All right, listen up. Alex's voice cut through the chaos. This is it. They think they can bury us here. They're wrong. We hold this line. We protect the scientists, no matter what. The soldiers shouted as one. No one left behind. Kellner's chest shook. He whispered the words with them. The Kreth descended in waves. Dropships slammed into the ground, unleashing lines of armored soldiers. Tanks rolled forward, cannons blasting. The humans fired back, the night exploding with light and thunder. Every shot felt like defiance. Every blast screamed, "We are still here." Kellner fought at their side. His aim was sharper now. He ducked and fired, his claws steady. He roared as he struck down another KRETH. For the first time, he wasn't fighting to survive. He was fighting to protect. The base walls shook as a massive explosion tore through the defenses. A Kreth assault mech, towering and armored, stormed through the breach. Big one incoming. A soldier shouted. Alex looked at Kellner. You're? Move, alien. Kellner's eyes darted. He saw the mech's glowing core, shielded but vulnerable. His heart pounded. He remembered the canyon. He remembered thinking like a human. Cover me. He roared. Before fear could stop him, Kellner charged into the open. Energy bolts seared past him. The ground shook with explosions. But he didn't. Stop, the humans shouted behind him, pouring fire into the mech to distract it. Kellner leapt, claws digging into the machine's side. He climbed, each step burning his muscles. The mech roared, shaking violently. With a scream, he drove his weapon into the glowing core. Sparks erupted. The machine exploded, throwing him to the ground. When the smoke cleared, the mech lay broken. The humans erupted in cheers. Alien warrior. That's how it's done, Alex grinned. Told you he belonged, but the fight wasn't over. More Kreth poured in. The humans were tired, wounded, but still unbroken. Kellner stood among them, his body bruised and bleeding. Yet he felt stronger than ever. He looked around at these strange warriors, men and women, who laughed at death, who carried the weak, who fought for each other. And then, in the middle of battle, Kellner realized the truth. He wasn't just working with humans anymore. He was one of them. The Kreth commander appeared at last, striding forward in black armor, towering over his troops. His voice boomed through the battlefield. Surrender, humans. You are broken. You are finished. Alex spat blood, raised his rifle, and shouted back. You still don't get it. We don't surrender. Not today. Not ever. The soldiers roared with him. Even Kellner raised his voice. The Kreth hesitated. For the first time, their lines wavered. The humans charged. It was madness. It was impossible. Outnumbered 10-1. Wounded, exhausted, yet they ran forward, weapons blazing, screaming like wild animals. Kellner ran with them. His roar joined theirs, echoing across the battlefield. The Kreth line broke. The mighty empire faltered against a handful of defiant humans and one alien who had learned what it meant to fight with them. Hours later, silence fell. The base was scarred, smoking, but still standing. The Kreth were gone. The soldiers leaned on their weapons, bloodied but alive. Alex dropped onto a broken wall, grinning despite his wounds. We lived, he whispered. We lived again. Kellner sat beside him, chest heaving, claws stained with dirt and fire. Not just lived. Kellner said softly. We showed them what humans are. Alex chuckled. No, friend. You showed them too. That night, as the survivors sat around the fire, they raised their mugs once more. To the fallen, Alex said. To the fight, another added. Kellner lifted his mug. To humanity, and to those who stand with them. The humans cheered. For the first time, Kellner didn't feel like an outsider. He felt home, asterisk,